For the past few weeks, I've compiled together a list of some projects that caught my eye that I feel you should be making. Well, I just got done going through that list and picked out some of my favorites, and today I'm going to show you how to get some of those built. First up, we're going to be building this awesome wall-mounted candle holder. This thing can be built with limited time, tools, and money. Get yourself some 1x8 and a 4x4. On your 1x8, measure over to 16 inches and get this cut. Alright, next. I hope that when you go to sleep at night, your pillow is hot on both sides. I hope that when you go to lay in the bed, the corner of your sheets pop off one at a time. I hope that for the rest of your life, there's an itch in the middle of your back that you cannot scratch. Ever. Son of a... I really need to get that fixed. Carrying on. On your 4x4, go ahead and measure over to 5 inches and get that cut as well. Now on the top of my 4x4, I'm going to pull in at 1 inch, and then I'll mark the center of the width from the opposite side. And I'll punch those intersecting points. I'll bring that piece over to the vise, and with an 1.5 inch Forstner bit, I'll drill down about 5/8 of an inch deep. Now from the top of my 1x8, I'll pull down to 5 inches, and I'll mark the center of the width right at that 5-inch mark I made. Now I want this hole to be closer to the outside. That way it's not as close to the actual backer. And on the back side of my 4x4, I'll mark the center of this, and then line up both of these center marks, and we'll add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. You can give this a little rub joint and wiggle it back and forth until it stiffens up a bit. And just check the reveal on both sides of your piece and make sure that you're nice and consistent. And I'll take a piece of my 4x4 and set that right on top to help hold that in place while my glue dries. Now this next part is one of my favorite parts to do with these types of rustic projects like this, and that is beating the hell out of this thing. I've been told to hit these things with bags of bolts and nuts. I've been told to put it out in the driveway if you got a gravel driveway and run over it a few times. Hell, I've even been told to take a shotgun and shoot it with buckshot. But my favorite thing is taking my axe and giving it a couple of whacks. Whack! I'll even take a screw and a good sized looking bolt and start hitting it with my hammer all along my piece, and it really just gives it that nice effect that I'm aiming for. Once I achieve the look that I'm going for, I'll go ahead and slap some finish on this thing. I'm going to be using some of this Minwax Honey Stain. I'll put on a first coat and then wipe off the excess, and once that dries, I'll add a second coat and then do the same steps by wiping off the excess and letting it cure. Now I'm just going to be building this one candle holder wall sconce, so I'm going to add some key slots to this on the back side. I'll line up the backer to the center of my bit, and I'm going to install 2 key slots right at the bottom and right at the top. I'll make these key slots about 1 inch in length. To transfer my key slot layout to the wall, I'll use my blue tape method and just press down right at those key slots I made and circle where the key slot entered. I'll take that piece of tape to the wall and install 2 screws, keeping those screw heads a 1/4 inch off of the wall. Now, say you want to make 3 of these guys like in the photo. All you would need to do is spin them around, lay them flat, make them all the same size, and just stagger them in a pattern that you like. Once you get that pattern established, just run a 1x4 from end to end and then attach that to each back while you have them in that staggered pattern. Then you could add your key slots to that 1x4 and mount it to the wall like that. Our next project can serve multiple purposes. God, try saying that 5 times fast. We're going to be building what could either be a keyring holder at your entryway, hat rack, or even a coat rack. The one shown in the photo is made out of nothing but 3/4 inch plywood, and they're getting $50 for this thing.
Damn!
Well, y'all know I like to put spin on everything, so I'll be using a piece of yellow pine 1x and some supplier. I'll start with my 1x and measure out to 25.5. I'll make this cut over at the miter saw, and once I get this cut to that measurement, I'll bring it back over to my table saw and get this ripped to 6 inches. All right, now let's get our piece laid out. From the left side, I'll start at 1.5 inches. Now from that 1.5 inch mark, I'll pull over 3 inches from there, and then 3 3/4, because our uprights are going to be 3/4 of an inch thick. And from that first one at that 3/4 inch mark, we'll wind up going 3 inches in between for each upright. So ultimately, all your layout marks will be at 1.5 inches, 4.5, 5 1/4, 8 1/4, 9 inches, 12, 12 3/4, 15 3/4 to 16.5, 19.5 to 20 1/4, and 23 1/4 to 24. Now let's work on our uprights. I'll wind up milling my stock to 1.5 inches in width. I'll pull over to 6 inches on one of my pieces. I'll take this to the miter box and get a stop block set up. Using a stop block is one of my favorite things to do whenever I have to batch out a number of pieces. You're going to want to cut 7 of these 6-inch pieces all together. Now, on the bottom of your pieces, you're going to pull up from that very bottom at 1 inch, and from the front edge, pull in to 1/2 inch. Try using a marking knife when making these layouts. That way they're absolutely accurate for each piece. Or you can use a marking wheel. Once you get all that laid out, go ahead and punch your marks. Over here at the vise, I'll start with a 1/16 inch drill bit, drilling all the way through at each of those punch marks. Then I'll switch to my 3/4 inch Forstner bit, drill halfway through on one side, flip my piece, and drill the rest of the way through. That way, I can avoid any kind of tear out. I'll go ahead and grab my speed square and head back over to my pieces. Now, on all your pieces, you want to position your speed square where that 45-degree angle goes up. Come right to the edge of your hole and scribe up on both sides of your hole. So your piece should look like this. and that excess will be taken out. There is a number of ways that you can remove this waste. You could do it with the jigsaw like I'm doing, or if you've got a bandsaw, that works as well. Once you get all those cut out, what I'm going to be doing is adding a little bit of boogie to it. So, sugar. Don't forget to smack that like button and hit subscribe. It's absolutely free and it really helps the channel grow. Now, I'm going to be charring this piece because I want that to be a contrasting appeal to that supplier. I really think that this is going to turn out crazy cool. Once I char my piece, I'll take this Scotch-Brite pad and just rub it across the whole piece. You don't want to go too hard, you just want to knock off any kind of excess charring, and then I'll just vacuum up all the dust. But make sure to wear a mask because this stuff is nasty. Now, if you want to get away from doing all those layout marks, you can get yourself a 3-inch rip and use that as a spacer. But make sure to start from your left side and pull over to 1.5 inches, and that will be your first layout for your first piece. Add a dab of glue, and I'll use some CA glue for a temporary clamp. I'll use my square for the first piece, that way I get it installed nice and square. Line it up flush to my top. Hold down pressure for a few seconds. Grab my spacer and install my second piece. Doing those same steps. Turning potential buyers into actual buyers is just like turning viewers into actual subscribers. There are 41% of my viewers that are subscribed to the channel. So do me a favor and head down below and hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and it's absolutely free. And don't forget to smack that like button. And for some extra precaution, we're gonna pop a Brad in his ass. And we're gonna use our favorite finish, the finish for dummies. Shalaka-laka. There you have it, rock stars. This turned out incredibly well. I really didn't think it was going to turn out that good, but wow. That contrast of the burnt charred 1x with the supplier is marvelous. Being that they're charging $50 for that plywood garbage, man, give me 50, 60 bucks for this one, and I'd be just happy. I'll wind up doing the same method as the first project with some key slots on the back. That way I can get this mounted. Now, if you have any bowing issues when you char your piece, make sure that you char the back side of it as well, and that should counteract that bow from the front. Just a little pro tip. I really hope that you were able to draw some inspiration from today's video, because now it's your turn to get in your shop and make some sawdust. Scott.